guys, how's it going? Happy Monday. Hope everyone's had a really beautiful day today. I got my hair cut on the weekend and it was literally just the best thing I've ever done. So freaking happy with it. It's just so much lighter. I feel so free. I don't have to actually spend like an hour doing my hair in the morning, which, like, let's be real, I never really did that anyway, but I had to think about it and had to contemplate spending an hour doing my hair. And sometimes when I would go out, I would actually like put an effort into my hair, and now I just don't have to at all because it's just going to be like super easy and playful and fun and simple, and I love it. I just feel literally like so much lighter and just, yeah, freer. It's amazing. Okay, so today, this afternoon, I am in my godmother's apartment, so I really hope she doesn't mind me filming this here. But we are going to talk about the rise of the divine feminine. Oh my gosh. So this topic has been on my heart for like a couple of weeks now, actually, and it's really funny because all these different things keep coming up. Like, I had a session with a clairvoyant and she talked about how I have a bit of a block around my feminine sexual energy and need to do some healing around like my goddess energy and like really embodying that divine feminine. Then I was thinking about like women in the church all week and like what it means to be like a woman of God. I know that I'm a child of God, but what does it mean to be a woman of God? And then on Sunday at church, our pastor did an entire sermon on women, and it was like the message was on like women in the Bible and like how women are really being called to like step into positions of leadership in the church and in society. And so I was like, okay, it's just totally like all of these things just culminating, and it's totally time for me to do a talk on this. So I'm really freaking excited to address this topic because it's something that is really hot on my heart at the moment, and something that like has so many different layers to it. So hopefully this empowers you guys in some way, and feel free to share this like with your girlfriends and also your guy friends as well, because this isn't just about women, this is about the rise of the divine feminine. So the first thing that I want to do is make the distinction between masculine, and also this was like my full journey last year was like embodying like a more feminine energy after having spent like so much of my life in my masculine and like really embodying that masculine energy. So first, to make the distinction, because I know a lot of people immediately when they hear masculine and feminine think male and female, and that's not actually what we're talking about here. So masculine and feminine are two polar energies essentially. It's not about male and female, it's about two binaries, two opposites that are required to make that like oppose one another, but also like are required to make this really deep and beautiful like attraction and polarity. And we all have a mix of both masculine and feminine energies within us. So it's not about like men are masculine and women are feminine. It's about like some men have a more like a predominantly feminine energy, and some women have a predominantly masculine energy. So the difference is, and the difference between the two energies and how we can like distinguish between the two. So a masculine energy, or the masculine energy, is very much like action orientated energy. So it's very much about like drive, and it's about ambition, and it's about hustle, and it's about getting shit done. The masculine is very direct, it's very forceful, it's very getting out there and doing it rather than sitting around and just thinking about it. It's very stable and steady and secure and like sturdy, predictable, very much like very consistent. If you think about, I don't know, the men in my life aren't like that, but the masculine energy is very much about like that sturdy, stable, consistent energy. Whereas the feminine energy is very much about that flow state. So we've got like, the feminine is all about opening up to receive. It's a very receptive energy. It's a nurturing energy. It's more about like the being. Whereas the masculine energy is about the doing. The feminine energy is about like the being energy. So it's focusing on like, what is making me like, what am I feeling in this moment? How am I being, like how am I showing up in the present moment? The feminine energy is very receptive, yeah, so it's all about opening to receive. If you think about the anatomy of the like male and female, so it's whereas the masculine is about entering and giving, the feminine is about receiving and opening. If you think about the analogy that I love, and I can't remember if it's David Dieter who came up with this analogy, but he talks about the flag and the flagpole. So the masculine is the flagpole, which is sturdy, stable, unmoving, and the feminine is the flag that waves around the flagpole. So quite like emotional, not in the sense of like hysterical. I think a lot of people think, oh, women are emotional, that means they're hysterical because they've got PMS or whatever. That's complete bullshit. Emotional just means actually in touch with our emotions, and it's actually a really beautiful gift that women can teach to men. basically, because we're not about like suppressing our emotions. We're actually about letting them come up to the surface and letting ourselves express them so that they don't become like illnesses, like whether it's physical or mental or whatever it is. We're actually really good at feeling and embodying our ever-changing emotions. So so it's like women are, ever-changing. The feminine energy is also really like intuitive, so tapping into that, like whereas the masculine is quite like rational and logical, the feminine is very intuitive and like tapping into that inner guidance and that inner knowing. So these two energies balance in harmony, and it takes a polarity of these two energies, the masculine and feminine, to create like an attraction between two people. And that does not mean that for example, it does not mean that you have to be in a heterosexual relationship. For example, even in a homosexual relationship, you might have one partner who embodies that more feminine energy and one partner embodies the more masculine energy. Again, it's not about male and female, but you need the balance of that masculine and feminine energy to create an attraction or a polarity. And what's happened, and this is a lot of what David Dieter talks about in his work, what has happened is that a lot of women, so we have grown up, especially our generation, I'm going to target this at like girls our age because that's my, my tribe. What's happened is that we've been born into an incredibly patriarchal society, and we've been born into a very male-dominated world. We're coming out of like post like third wave feminism, where we've had like we've had the suffragette movement, we've had like the bra burning, like women's reproductive rights that happened in the 60s, and then we've had women getting into like positions of leadership and breaking through the glass ceiling. We still have a long way to go, but what we've come into is still very much like a male-orientated society. But we've also been given like these incredible rights about moving up in the workplace and getting into positions of corporate leadership. But what we've done is women, and I think this is like a massive generalization, but I see it a lot, and it's been widely studied, this phenomenon as well, is that women think that in order to be taken seriously in a man's world, or in order to make it in a man's world, whether that's in corporate, whether that's moving up the corporate ladder or getting into positions of leadership, they feel like they need to embody that masculine energy. They feel like they need to become more like a man in order to succeed. And in a lot of cases they do. Like, that's not to say that they are required and that's what they should do, but in order to move ahead, a lot of women have really felt like they've had to hide away or to downplay those feminine qualities and embody more of those masculine qualities like drive and ambition at the expense of their more feminine nature. And what has happened is that we've created this generation of these incredible, strong, driven women who also have forgotten how to tune into their inner wisdom, have forgotten how to open to receive with gratitude the blessings that life bestows upon them, have forgotten how to just be. Like, they're so trapped in this energy of just like doing, drive, ambition, get ahead, hustle, get shit done, that they've forgotten how to just relax into that being energy, which is the fruit and the real essence of life. And that's where like the joy and the purity of life is. And what's happened is that our world, and you can see this reflected in the collective, what's happening on our planet right now, is that it's been so bombarded or like overrun by this masculine energy that we've completely ignored our planet, our beautiful Mother Earth, which is the embodiment of the divine feminine, right? So we have like, I say like Father, Son, and Mother Moon, but we also have like the eternal mother, which is our Mother Earth. And what's happened is that all of this masculine energy, whether it's happening in our companies, whether it's even happening in our homes, has gotten to the point, because it hasn't been balanced out by that feminine of like nurturing and loving and supporting and taking care of the planet, then we've created these companies and systems and structures that actually like overrun and exploit the resources of the planet for the sake of profits. They put profit basically and the bottom line as a higher priority, or they prioritize it over the sustainability, the long-term survival or nourishment of our beautiful planet and the people that inhabit her right now. So what I feel like we really need to do is actually bring on, this is not just me that thinks this is a massive school of thought that I've just been reading about, is actually bring back the balance. And that's where we come into the rise of the divine feminine, which is a movement, a global movement that is happening right now across the planet. And it is the most incredible uprising of like this divine, beautifully feminine power, where yes, it's women coming into their own. It's the women stepping into positions of leadership. It's women starting their own businesses and becoming entrepreneurs and creating their own income. But it's also like men and women embodying this more feminine energy of receptivity, of intuition, of nourishment and nurturing and care, and taking care of the planet before, and putting the planet before, and people before profits, and taking that into account. So yeah, it looks like women starting their own businesses. It looks like people becoming, you know, more fascinated by things like meditation, people doing the inner work on themselves. And this is just like a testament to the rise of like the personal development industry at the moment, the health and wellness industry, how freaking crazy booming they are right now, and just like how many like life coaches and health coaches and wellness bloggers and fitness gurus are popping up everywhere. And it's freaking awesome. Like, it's so cool because it means that we're actually like looking inward, and rather than just like charging ahead, we're actually like taking a moment to introspect and look inward and deal with and heal the emotional wounds that we've been carrying around with us, and actually like take the time to really assess our emotions and assess our beliefs and understand whether they're serving us or not, and if they're not, then bring them up to be healed. And that in itself, like that inner work, I believe is like inherently feminine, because it's all about looking inward and introspection, and it's also just about stillness and getting still and getting really present. So I guess that's really what I wanted to talk about in terms of like the rise of the divine feminine. There's so much stuff on this at the moment. The other thing is like moving more from like a male dominated religion to a more feminine spirituality. So this is like a topic that I'm so fascinated by at the moment. So whereas I think a lot of mainstream religions, Christianity, for example, is incredibly male dominated in the sense that it's very much about like a male God, and it's about, you know, a male savior, Jesus, coming to earth. And it's all, there's a lot of like very strong, powerful men in the Bible. There's absolutely strong, powerful women as well. But in terms of like Christianity as a whole, it is very like male dominated, and it focuses on like a masculine God. Whereas if you look at like other traditions like Buddhism, for example, or Hinduism, they've got female embodiments of the divine, which are just as powerful and are right up there with the guys as well. So you've got like Krishna, and you've got all of the different beautiful goddesses that come into it. And it's about really balancing. I think a lot of people, men and women, are being drawn to this more feminine spirituality nowadays, because it's not about whereas male-dominated religions tend to be very much about like, okay, let's believe this. We've got a strict set of rules and responsibilities, and this is what it means, and we're going to define ourselves by this identity, and we're this collective, and this is how we're going to know. It's like set ourselves apart. Whereas the feminine spirituality is very much about like picking what works for you, like, and taking and leaving the rest. So it's about like researching. It's about really tuning into what feels good for you, what sacred text really speaks to your heart, what gods and goddesses you want to align with, what feminine deities that you want to like call in to support you. This study of like this, more people getting into like angel cards and oracles and all of these beautiful things that are definitely the more feminine side of spirituality. And it's working for a lot of people, and a lot of people are finding safety and security and just this beautiful connection to the divine through that, whereas they may not have found it through like traditional masculine-based religions. So that's another reason that I think this is a really freaking cool movement that's happening. So it is just about the rise of the divine feminine, is really just about the rise of this beautiful, nurturing, receptive, loving, compassionate energy, and also this being energy. So it's not so much focused on like, charging ahead, being ambitious and getting stuff done. It's about like anchoring into the present moment and just like focusing on like the state that we're being in, which I think is like the secret to life, honest to God. Like last year, literally part of what knocked me out of the game last year and sent me back on relapsing into depression was that I was so much in my masculine. And just on a personal level, this stuff is just so relevant for me right now, because I've lived literally pretty much my entire life in my masculine, in that really masculine dominant energy. I grew up in a home where that was what was modeled for me in terms of like what it looked like to be a woman. It was very much like always on the go, always getting shit done, never having a moment to rest or take care of yourself. It was just about, it was about productivity over over joy. It was about just like how much can we get done in a day rather than how much can we enjoy our day. So just all these different mindset shifts that I've been able to make over the last year and a half that have completely transformed the way that I live my life. And things like the feminine values beauty, the feminine values rather than just like efficiency and what can I do with this and like productivity. The feminine values things like things that are beautiful and things that are actually like bring joy and bring passion and bring like inner peace to our lives. And I think that that's what the world needs more of, more than anything right now. And that's part of the rise of the divine feminine. Yeah, so for me it was all about just coming back to like, okay, yes, I still want to be productive. Yes, I'm still this incredibly beautiful, like ambitious, driven human, and I've still got so much that I want to accomplish, but like what's the energy with which I'm doing it? And what is it like, what is the point, honestly? Like if I get to the end of the day and I've done all this stuff but I feel like totally burnt out and just like empty, then what the hell was the point? Like the reason I chose this career and the reason that I chose this life and went against the grain and decided to live a life that lights me up is because I want it to light me up and I want it to feel really freaking good. And by running myself into the ground, trying to be productive and trying to like get my hustle on is not like serving anyone, least of all me. So yeah, like for me, like embodying that divine feminine is all about just like tuning into, okay, what's going to feel really good for me in this moment? How can I love myself more in this moment? How can I like embody my core desired feelings today? Like how do I want to feel rather than just what I want to do? And that has just been like, yeah, freaking game changer for me. So if any of this resonates with you guys, let me know. Just leave a comment below and I will, yeah, like respond to it straight away. But yeah, girls and guys, like this isn't just about women taking over the world. This is about the rise of women in like leadership positions, going into positions of power and authority, but bringing with them, like when they're there, bringing with them this beautiful presence and this beautiful energy that really is going to transform the planet, because it's this like divine mother energy that is really, it cares, like it really cares, and it cares about people and it cares about the environment. And this energy also is all about compassion, and it's all about yeah, giving and receiving, and it's all about flow. It's all about like working with the natural rhythms of like our bodies and working with the natural rhythms of nature. That's another thing, like women as well, we have these beautiful natural rhythms that our body honors every month and during the year, and times when we feel like we want to like go, and times that we literally just want to like go into our shell. And it's about honoring our body's natural wisdom. And then mirrored in that is like what happens, that's on a micro scale. On a macro scale, looking at like the planet and how we can honor her natural wisdom and Mother Nature's natural wisdom in terms of like the way that we plant our food, the way that we grow our crops, the way that we harvest the resources that we need to survive and to sustain our like the growing population. It's like looking at how we can do that in a way that honors the natural rhythms and flows and energies of the environment rather than just pushes against them. And there's so much about like you know, planting for like different crops in different areas to like keep the soil, like regenerate the soil, and just make sure that we're getting and using the planet and using our natural resources in a way that actually like benefits them and is just sustainable, rather than just like ignoring the natural rhythms and flows of the planet and just, you know, taking whatever we can and exploiting her. And I think that's been done to women as a whole, and the feminine energy as a whole is this like exploitation and almost this like pillaging of her natural resources and that energy. And that is just, you know, it's on its way out. It really is, like with this like incredible, fierce, beautiful power that's like coming out of all of these incredible women, like in my life and in this industry, and, you know, just in overall, like in the women in the world in general, and this beautiful feminine energy that's rising up now. Like it's, yeah, everything's changing, and it's just, it's freaking beautiful. It really is. It's just so beautiful. So yeah, girls, just one of the things my pastor said on the weekend, just like go for it. Whatever industry you're in, whatever area, whatever sphere of society, stand up, like this is your time. This is our time to shine. You know what I mean? Like, we have been positioned in this time, in this place for a purpose, and in this time in history specifically, we've been given exactly the gifts that we need to thrive and to create the world that we want to live in by becoming the people that we were meant to be. So just go for it, girls and guys. Yeah, just embody that divine feminine. If you want any more resources on this stuff, David Dieter is amazing, and his book, The Way of the Superior Man and Dear Lover, are amazing if you're in a relationship, like guy and girl, or even like, homosexual relationship. Just go and read those books together. They're freaking awesome. And there's so many other like resources if you just Google the Divine Feminine. But yeah, thank you so much for joining in for this, you guys, and hope you have an awesome afternoon. Love you so much. Bye.